Welcome to the Marvel Alliance podcast, where we cover anything and everything to do with the Marvel Universe. From the comics, TV, and movies, we will go from Earth 616 to the Mojoverse to the TVA in order to bring the Marvel Universe right to you. I'm the man without fear, Chris.
I'm the nerd with the mouth, David.
Alliance Assemble,
Assemble.
volume 259, and we are now in the post release of Thunderbolts Asterix that has been retitled, maybe, or just like we're explaining what the asterisk means. Who knows? We'll talk about it when we get into the box office and talk about that sudden change. But yeah, we're back to a normal week of news, and there's been a lot of news actually, including this just this evening. News story broke with rumors, so that's has snuck into our extra news items for this week. So a big chunky episode of Marvel Alliance for you. But how's been your week, David?
Week has been good. It's been a little bit busy with work and getting ready towards the end of the year, senior Mac collections, things like that, and everything else I have to do. Also, one of my good friends was in town, so I got a chance to have dinner with them last night, and just laugh and catch up. So, on that, it hasn't been too chaotic, and I'm okay with not being too chaotic.
Yeah, it's we just started exams at my school, so one exam down and basically three more to go, plus retest and everything. We, as of tomorrow, if you're listening to us on Friday, we will be then 7.5 days away from the end of the school year. So hold on to your hats. You know, it's got a lot to do in 7.5 days, but the end is near and break is coming as we close out the year, begin prepping for the new year. But I'm looking forward to, you know, David and I do have some vacation time coming up at that point, respectively. So, you know,
Yes.
but we also have movies to watch, shows to watch. You know, Marvel Alliance is still going to be going strong at that point with summer content as well. But yeah, so just tired. It's been really weird, and I was saying it to some of my staff members. Like it's been a normal week, but it's just felt long. I don't know why, but it's just felt like a very long week. So, but let us start getting into the show proper at this point. So, as always with the network plugs, so we are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance network with 7 shows and covering the wide range of geek and nerdom. So check out the show notes to see the full schedule. Check out the show notes below and subscribe to the Geek Ultimate Alliance network on Twitter at GUA Pod Network so you know when all the shows drop. We also have a Patreon, so if you want to throw a couple of stars our way, we've got 2 tiers. We got our dollar tiers or tip jar to say, hey, you think we're doing a good job, and then we've got our $5 tier with ad-free episodes, early access episodes, and Patreon exclusive shows. We got 2 current shows on there from the past. We can watch this all day. The Marvel Alliance Infinity Saga rewatch, where Brent and I rewatched the entirety of the Infinity Saga plus Black Widow in chronological order and gave our re-reviews of those movies. And then we had Tales from the House of X, where we rewatched our favorite X-Men movies from the Fox era of X-Men. And we hinted towards this idea the last couple of weeks. Well, we can officially reveal our coming this summer, since David and I have some extra time, it's a little bit easier to fit in this to our schedule at this point. We haven't lined up the schedule, but it's going to start happening soon. Coming this summer, our newest Marvel Alliance Patreon show, the Baxter broadcast, the Fantastic Four retro film reviews. So we will be watching the following films and giving our thoughts for our patrons. The first up, the infamous, the unreleased, the Fantastic Four film by Roger Corman. It has been very long time since I have watched this. Have you ever watched it, David?
This will be my first official viewing outside of still pictures and random clips here and there. This will be my first full length sit down watch.
Yes, it's. I've seen it 2 or 3 times, but it has been at least a decade since I've got a chance to read it. This had been a legendary stuff, but we have found it, and we're going to be watching it at that point and reviewing it for Patreon, and then we'll follow up with the 2005, the Fantastic Four, then next the Fantastic Four, the Rise of the Silver Surfer, and then the 2015 Fantastic Four, aka Fantastic Four Stick. That will be my very first watch ever of this movie. I just, I'm doing this for you, the people. You have no idea how much I have resisted even attempt. Like,
Mm.
I won't even put it on in the background. That's how much I am not looking forward to watching this movie. But because we love you all, and we do this for you, the people, and for in this case the patrons, we will close out this series of the Baxter broadcasts with reviewing this. So it's gonna be
These
interesting to see.
sacrifices.
Yes, it is. It's gonna be interesting as I see as I see a fifth of Jack Gaming in chat just got out of Thunderbolts, and I would love to see that. Well, guess what? Fifth of Jack, you are a patron, so you will be enjoying that you enjoying that new content. So I think David and I hasn't set the schedule yet, so probably our first episode will be sometime in June. We'll set our schedule, see if we want to do two in a month or spread it out a little bit, try to encompass summer, but we'll figure it out.
Yes.
So, but it'll be coming this summer. First episode dropping sometime in June. So look forward to that, patrons. DC Alliance has got their DC films through the years. Joe's got his Disney deep dives. The 1st and 15th, dropping an episode looking in chronological order of his going through the Disney animation in chronological order. And a lot of back content. So if you're not a member or Patreon and you want to listen to the Baxter broadcast, well, join Patreon at www.patreon.com/GUA network so you can get our newest episodes plus all our back content. So we want to thank our patrons. We can't do this without your support. But if you're not a member of our Patreon, take 30 to 90 seconds to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcast. We greatly appreciate it. And last, but certainly not least, we want to thank our official sponsor, OrganicPriceBooks.com, for omnibus hardcover collected edition needs. JP and the crew at OPB have got going on with excellent customer service, immaculate packaging, ships around the world. And they've just put up the newest pre-orders to go live. At that point, some things of note. You've got Secret Wars Battle World Omnibus Volume 2. This is the second of what will be 3 volumes of the entirety of the tie-ins for Secret Wars by Jonathan Hickman. And there are a lot. Again, it will encompass 3 omnibuses. We've got Spider-Man Noir in trade paperback. We've got Dr. Aphra wrapping up that series. We've got Uncanny X-Men by Brian Michael Bendis. I will leave it at that. Not my tempo.
No.
That's the kindest words I could say for it. Then, wrapping up the legendary run itself, Ultimate Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 5 will be first time ever in print. We were always wondering, because they had a Death of Ultimate Spider-Man as an omnibus, but we were wondering, they said they were going to do a Volume 5 and remapping it. Here's the thing about this. What makes this special? This is the only way you will be able to get Ultimate Marvel Team Up in oversized format. The entirety of that series will be in this collection. So that's what they're making special about that one. And then what else? We've got House of X Powers of X coming back into print, an oversized edition with that lovely Mark Brooks as a direct market cover that you can only get from places like Organic Price Books. So check that out. We've got 2 codes that you can use. Marvel GUA to get $2 off every single order, or you could use MGUA SIT to get 5% off when you order 4 or more books together. Use it in a limited amount of times. You can earn points to get free books, discounts on books, and as always, want to thank them for being our official sponsor. All right. Get all that back up. All right. So, stories break at that point. Sometimes they break the next day or the same day as we go live with different things. Well, this one came out on Friday, so we did our Thunderbolts review, and we said, "Oh, guess what? We got a news item already to discuss for next week." I love it when things work out that way. That means Chris can set up the show notes, and at least we know we have at least a big topic to discuss.
Yeah.
In this case, it is The Hollywood Reporter breaking the story that Ryan Reynolds is in early stages of exploring a Deadpool X-Men team-up movie. This is an exclusive coming from them. They say that Ryan Reynolds has remained firm that he did not see another solo Deadpool movie in his future. following the aftermath of Deadpool and Wolverine. That was despite the film's grossing $1.338 billion, and has been looked at as a valuable new player in Marvel Studios. Now, 9 months after the release of the movie, and has become the top grossing R rated movie of all time, he is quietly plotting his return to the character. But to his word, it will not be the lead. Reynolds is exploring the idea for a Deadpool movie that would feature X-Men characters, as well as continuing to script the Paramount comedy Boy Band after making writing a priority for much of this year before tackling other obligations, sources tell The Hollywood Reporter. The multi-hyphenate is working on various treatments for an ensemble film featuring 3 or 4 X-Men characters. Deadpool would, of course, appear, but perhaps only as a supporting player. Reynolds is said to believe that keeping his F-bomb wielding antihero more on the sidelines could allow for the X-Men characters to be used in unexpected ways. Reynolds has been very open about every Deadpool movie needing a strong reason to exist, and it's possible that this could provide the avenue he needs. The potential film is separate from any potential X-Men movie that Hunger Games writer Michael Leslie is penning for Marvel Studios. There's no word on which X-Men character Reynolds is toying with, though the Oscar-nominated Wicked star Cynthia Erivo, who Reynolds honored at the National Board of Review, and with co-star Ariana Grande, has publicly lobbied to place Storm in the MCU. Reynolds would need to defer to Marvel on any such decision. So this is extremely early days, they said. He's known for tinkering with concepts he hopes to share in Marvel's future, is working separate from the studio at this stage. It's not unusual for Reynolds to go through many different iterations for the right idea. Before Deadpool and Wolverine, one idea he pitched for Deadpool 3 was a low-budget road trip movie. And so then it goes on to what he's done with his X-Men movies. Sources say Reynolds also continues to rewrite the script for Boy Band. Okay, that's moving on to that. But yeah, so he's working on a separate X-Men project that definitely putting out there that that he's going to be working on a team-up movie. Doesn't say necessarily what. I know both of us think one name comes to mind, X-Force, as he whispers it just there. And but yeah, what do you think about this news that he's jumping into kind of toying with just writing it separately? He's not been commissioned by Marvel Studios, hasn't been commissioned by Disney to do this. He's just doing this and possibly presenting it within the next year, maybe. I don't know.
I'm excited for it, even if it doesn't make it to full movie status, which I do think just based upon the fact that it's Ryan Reynolds and it's Deadpool, if they're going to greenlight it, they're going to greenlight it as a movie and not just one of their Marvel special presentations. But either way, like it would be, it's going to be fun. He's going to make it fun, and I think this is also a chance to bring in some of the X-Men characters that won't get a shine in the new and upcoming X-Men series or won't get a shine in Doomsday. We've already have confirmed a lot of the original X-Men who are coming back for Doomsday, and we don't know who will be in the new X-Men series. So this gives us a chance to, again, use some of those lesser known ones. Most people did not know Megasonic Teenage Warhead existed before Deadpool, and she had amazing shine in that movie, and that character continued to be a linchpin for that series. So I'm excited to see where he goes from here with this. I know whatever it is, it's going to be hilarious.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things that do you take some characters that have been in the Deadpool movies, like Colossus, like you said, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, who was her girlfriend? God, what was it?
Yukio.
Yukio, there we go, Yukio, because we always love Yukio. Shatterstar, and we want to think about, like, I think whoever is the X-Men characters are going to do for the MCU, I think those are just going to be kind of off the table for him to play with, at least initially. I just kind of think that they're gonna hold that firm right now. But you're seeing D-list X-Men characters, because I mean, for crying out loud, I'm looking at my encyclopedia for the Marvel Universe at that point. I could just That's the wonderful thing about X-Men. You can find some interesting C or D listers that you can give that shine to, and or like you said, if they want to go X-Force, you can go Black Ops at that point, have his own Black Ops team. And some interesting other characters. Quentin Quire comes to mind. You could do bring in some kind of questionable, like kind of anti-heroes along with him. Phantomax comes to mind. Even do Archangel at that point. Some
Yeah.
of those kind of those have been tied to X Force before. Maybe we'll see a return of Cable. Who knows? But I think I like this idea of being separate from the X-Men movies, giving him a chance to kind of pen what he's looking for at that point. So those would be some good ideas. I think you can border, if you're gonna have Deadpool, it's gonna have humor in it. But as we saw with Deadpool and Wolverine, there is a balance to that you could find that actually works. It doesn't always have to be so much humor and turns into a slapstick comedy, because I don't think that's what necessarily he's looking for either.
Yeah, I love the fact that with each of the Deadpool movies, he's always had someone who's kind of kept him grounded, and they played on the fact that okay, you're getting a little bit over the top with the comedy. Come in, pay attention or be serious in this moment, and having those aspects of that. So yes, we're going to get some funny moments, but we are also going to get some serious moments, and we're going to get some more insight into the Wade Wilson Deadpool character, and just the over the topness with that will be fun.
What about, do you see Hugh making a return or a cameo in this movie at all?
Till he's 90.
We will run that man into the ground at that point, because again, he's had so much fun with it. So timeline for this, again, he's just writing. They've said it before. He has made lots of different iterations of scripts. I'd say if they want this very quickly, again, we're not going to see the first X-Men movie until after Secret Wars. It's not happening. So they're going to put that out there first. So he has time to really do this at that point, and it's going to be up to Marvel whether they want to do this or not. Or they're going to come back and say, we like this idea, we like this idea. Like, he's going to go through a couple of rounds of this before it becomes a
Yeah.
reality. But at least wherever he's at in this process, wherever they're getting their sources from, they're confident enough in them that saying like, this is an important thing for him. He wants to keep Deadpool in the zeitgeist outside of what we all are assuming is a appearance in either maybe a credit scene in Doomsday or definitely in Secret Wars. Of which we're just reading the tea leaves at this point. So you know,
Yeah, I feel like they, as this gets more and more to a thing, they're definitely going to give him a list of people that he cannot use, and then let him have his way after that. So, because you're not going to want to a debut the X-Men proper with this type of vehicle. You're going to want them in there. You're going to want to capitalize on that. So we already know that's off the table. It's going to come after the X-Men make their official debut. And then with that being said, you are also going to want to build that franchise over there. So you're not going to want to take any of those characters that you're trying to build with that and put them into this movie. So he'll have his do not use list, but it will still be X-Men related. And like I said, he'll do great with it, because that's just the type of comedic presence that he has, but also the true fandom for these characters that he's not going to waste any potential that he's given.
yeah. All in the game asking, will it tie in with the new X Men movie? I think in the sense of they're going to exist in the same universe. They're going to mention each other. They
Yeah.
may make some references to the new X Men team. Well, if they have a team, why can't I have a team? It could be as simple as that. It doesn't need to be anything more than that. Sanju asking, would you start the X Men movie without the Wolverine? Other characters need a spotlight. I mean, I'm with our buddy Travis at this point. We could easily have, depending on, you know, if they're gonna keep Hugh Jackman around as Wolverine, as the joke goes around, he's gonna be doing this until 90. I'm with Travis. If we're gonna put Wolverine in, let's give Laura Kinney a stint at it. Let her take the moniker of it. The passing of the torch doesn't mean that Logan doesn't exist or another Logan doesn't exist that can come in later, but it would be an interesting change up because she is a very popular character. She's even become a great Wolverine in her own right. So, but even having without Wolverine, I think you can easily do an X-Men movie without Wolverine in the initial roster. I think it's very doable. I think there have been many great iterations of the X-Men teams that you don't have to have Wolverine on it to be a success.
Yeah, I agree. And even with this team up, I could see a situation where Hugh Jackman is nothing but a 2 second cameo where Deadpool needs some help. He calls up Wolverine. Wolverine tells him to F off and hangs up on him and goes back to doing something else. And that is all we see of him. Just having that moment. You get the cameo, the till he's 90, but you don't need him to be a linchpin in either the standalone X-Men universe or this. It's fun to have, but it's not needed, and they can make so much out of what is available.
Yep. And as all in the game said, love Hugh, but needed fresh actor. And I've said it before. I do not envy the next actor to step into that role because you have some big shoes to fill. And I personally am the kind of person that I'm always going to give someone a chance. I just know that you're going to always get the comparison until we see you in the film to say, "All right, show me what you got." So, and as let's see. Oh, a lot of y'all came into chat. X-Men didn't work well with the Wolverine not hogging the spotlight. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a focus on that. I'm gonna be very interesting to see what season 2 is because of the way Wolverine was left with adamantium being torn from his body. So it'll be interesting to see. But you're right. Wolverine was not the spotlight as much. There was not a big Wolverine centric episode until the very end. Pippa Jack, yeah, we were beyond the days of everything X-Men to have Wolverine, even though I do love Wolverine. Sanju saying, should X-23 be the new Wolverine, or would you recast new guy? I I say we give. I think if Hugh Jackman's gonna, depending on the Hugh Jackman's survival as the character Wolverine at the end of Secret Wars, again, I'm not confirming anything. I'm just saying it would be very. We're leaving money on the table not having him in that movie. Um, I think an easy way to give them time to recast a new male Wolverine is to put X-23 as our legacy right now to continue on. Give
Yeah.
them time to do that, and doesn't mean Wolverine is dead or anything like that. Just could be this existence of this character that's out there that we haven't seen, and X-23 is tied to them. Make it a mystery. So,
I agree.
so who should be the X-Men movie villains in the MCU? Oh, there's too many. Too many. Magneto's at the top of the list. I mean, it's one of those that you're gonna have Magneto at some point. You got Sinister, Apocalypse. I mean, you got all the baddies at this point. You got.
Yeah.
It'll be very interesting to see who the first one's going to be, though.
I I do want Magneto. I think that Magneto is something that they can build up to, though. It doesn't have to, it could be
I
just
agree.
like they did with Thanos, where it's the seeds on top of whoever your villain of the movie is. I would love to see Sinister actually make its return, not just a nod to the Essex Corporation, but an actual Sinister in there some way, shape, or form. I mean, there's so many different avenues, so many different villains that you can go with, but I think that Magneto will eventually be an overarching villain, even if whoever the villain of the first one is just someone who's going to eventually be someone who is a part of the brotherhood of mutants, or that's how we get to Magneto. But he is going to be, if they're taking this into a multi-picture deal with the X-Men, they're trying to build a franchise and a legacy off of that, then all roads lead to Magneto.
Yep. All in the game said Daphne Keene should be it. I mean, I wouldn't be turning that down at that point. Fifth Jack Gaming, totally agree. Don't recast. I would say push for a no name whom they cast as Wolverine. Yep. So we will have to see what's going on with that, but we're not done with the X-Men yet, but we are going to take our first ad break before we get into the story that broke today. So, listeners, as you know, these ads keep the lights on the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. We don't get to choose what ads come on and keep those lights on at the Geek Ultimate Alliance. So, give you that 3 count before they come on. 3, 2, 1. We'll be right back. And we are back. All right. So this story, we know X Men, the MCU's movie X Men has a writer, but we've been wondering and saying, hey, when's the director coming on board? Well, Deadline has came out today and put out an exclusive, and they're eyeing someone. They're eyeing someone who's having a very good week at this point, and that is Thunderbolts director Jake Schreier is being circled by Marvel Studios to capitalize on the success of Thunderbolts Asterix to possibly take the big step forward, saying, "Hey, you've proven your worth. Let's take on the preeminent mutant powers and there and become the director of the new MCU's X-Men." So it is unknown, as Deadline reports, it is unknown where things stand in the deal-making process, but insiders tell Deadline that following a meeting this past week, Schreier looks to be the top choice to take on the studio's most anticipated project. As we said, Michael Leslie is penning this script right now with Kevin Feige producing. Marvel, obviously, with these stories, has no comment. The studio has been taking its time finding the right person to take over directing duties and has made it clear it doesn't want to rush the process, similar to how it handled pitches from potential writing candidates last year. After months of meetings, momentum started to favor Schreier when the early reactions to Thunderbolts Asterix began to trickle in about a return to form with Marvel Studios. Marvel and Schreier had an incredible experience working together on Thunderbolts, a film that has won over critics and fans, becoming Marvel's best reviewed film since Spider-Man No Way Home in 2021. While that recent meeting sealed the deal, Marvel execs were well aware about how much Schreier loved the X-Men comics, an early sign that he would ultimately get one of those meetings to pitch his vision of the new X-Men movie would look like. Even before the reactions came in about how impressive Thunderbolts Asterix was, the studios already were trying to get in the business with the director. But sources say in recent days he began turning down jobs on all sides of him landing one of the coveting directive openings in the town. So that's interesting too, that he's turned down a bunch of offers at this point because, as they're saying, he's got something that he's near to closing. It's hardly surprised that Marvel would stay in house for this film, given how often it has rewarded directors with big assignments following the success of previous projects. The Russo brothers wound up helming Infinity and Avengers Endgame after the directing stint with Captain America sequels, and most recently, Matt Shakman was given the directing reins of the Fantastic Four First Steps after launch of WandaVision for Disney Plus. So, I am very excited about this potential, because we both were very clear. If you have not listened to our Thunderbolts review, spoiler, we both liked it. We both have our nitpicks at it, but we do a great, in my humble opinion, we do a very good breakdown of the film. But I think one of the biggest things that was impressive about it, not just the character development but Jake Schreier's direction of an ensemble of different capabilities of actors and actresses. I mean, this is his calling card to it. Say, look what I can do with a whole bunch of no names in the sense of the MCU. Like, let's be honest. Like, these are not the A-level heroes and anti-heroes outside of Bucky, and Elena is rising with her own rank. But let's be honest. Like, these aren't the top tiers that we would essentially spurt off at and for the MCU. We love him, but he did a great job, in my opinion, directing this. And yeah, this I'm very excited about this. Yes, give him the reins of this one, because it'll definitely. But here's the other thing too: just because Leslie is writing this doesn't mean that Leslie is going to be the one who's going to end up writing it. Schreier may come in and say, I want another stab at this. It's not meshing with his vision for it.
Yeah. Yeah. To your point, he did excellent with the ensemble cast. He took characters that were at times almost throwaway characters that you would not have outside of their movies thought twice to see. Anyone who told me that after watching Black Widow, they were clamoring for more of Red Guardian, I would say you are a liar. Yelena, yes, for different layers of reasons. But if you were telling me you were clamoring for more of Red Guardian and you would sit there and you would be sympathetic to how he was and the way that he was portrayed, no one would have ever thought. Same thing with Walker. Like after everything that happened in Falcon and Winter Soldier slash Captain America and Winter Soldier, like you would not have thought this is somebody who I want to see the pain that he has gone through. So the way that that movie was portraying all these characters, like I think that he will do a great job with another ensemble cast of again deeply layered characters. So you have all these different powers, all these different people that you have to capture the look and the essence of each one who's completely different in their power set. This right now is the perfect person to do that.
And all the game, I want to talk about this because it leads to what I just said before David spoke. Writer Joanna Callow from Beef and the Bear was a smart addition to Thunderbolts. She is the screenwriter for Thunderbolts Asterix. Would have preferred for her to be possibly brought back alongside director Schreier for the new X-Men movie. That could still happen. Again, Leslie is just the first writer they have hired to give the first treatment. If Marvel Studios doesn't like it, or Schreier ends up being the director and he doesn't like it, I hate to say it, but they're going to side with their director versus a writer on that point and give it a shot. They have time.
Yeah.
There is no announcement in the sense of when they're going to start filming for this. They as we'll get into later, what the plan is for X-Men at this point. But that could still happen, especially if Thunderbolts continues as the critical darling it is. The fan response, the critic response has been very, and her tied to this as the screenwriter for it. That could still be a possibility, or they could take Leslie's script and she could come in as a co-writer to match the two that matches Schreier's vision for it. But again, Schreier, it may still not be true. We're just going with the idea that he is now the lead candidate because again, look what's happened in 1 week. It has been nothing but the press tours have been great for it. There has not been any scandals for this. It is a pure, fun press tour that everyone seems to be enjoying their time with it. So,
Yeah. The amount of times that I have seen and heard, whether it be in reviews from true reviewers to influencers and TikTok reviews, people saying this is Marvel's return to form. When it comes down to it, they are going to ride with the director that helped put them in that position. And if he deems it necessary to bring in uh, Joanna Callow, and if he deems it necessary to go in a certain direction with these characters, they're going to do that. They've got the time because this isn't something that's going to be fleshed out until after the already announced slate of movies. This isn't something that they've already announced, and we need to have this by summer of 26. We have to have it out by then because it needs to fit in between this movie or it needs to fit next to this show. They've got the time to let this thing cook and make sure it is cooked to perfection.
Alex in the chat, as he's definitely David's a fan of him by his icon there, as I call Alex my frenemy on my as the OPB buyer's guide on Saturdays at this point. But at what point do we call it X Force? Well, we call it X Force when it's Ryan Reynolds' movie at this point. But this will be, I want this movie. I don't want it to necessarily be called X-Men. I would like it to be called The Uncanny X-Men. I think there's
Yes.
something very nostalgic about that. I think that is a way to distinguish it from what has been done during the Fox Men. Still having X-Men, but again, The Uncanny X-Men. That's how you do it. I don't want this. I mean, I know some of the scoopers have been saying, oh, it's going to be called The Mutants. No.
No.
Branding is very important. I trust Feige in the sense of branding is
Yeah,
especially
the branding, the
age.
name recognition
Yes,
for that. Yeah.
come on. In the age where Bob Iger said we're going to capitalize on known property and things like that, no, X-Men. It has to have X-Men in it in some point. So either call it X-Men, the Uncanny X-Men, the Astonishment. It's going to have it. But if you're going to put the adjective in there, Uncanny is the best option for it. It is the most. It is the honoring the legacy of this of the entire catalog of it. So
Yeah, and to me, Uncanny X-Men holds a level of gravitas to it that it makes it feel important. It makes it feel new and like I need to go see what this is about.
yep. So we will watch, see if Schreier does officially land that. I don't think, you know, this might be another, this might be an SDCC announcement that'll be coming to officially name it at that point. But I think again, we are a ways away from naming our cast, especially if they haven't named the director yet. Um, I still am sticking by my guns. We will not see a casting for the X-Men this year. We will continue getting rumors, nothing official. So, but all right. So let us move into our next story. This is coming from the Wall Street Journal. Disney wanted more from Marvel. Now it wants less. So, as reported by the Wall Street Journal, Feige recently told colleagues that watching all the X-Men MCU's new TV shows and movies was starting to feel more like homework than entertainment. Mr. Feige is now understanding the problems with what has happened under the previous era regime. This is partially in an effort to placate Disney, which depended on Marvel to help boost its Disney Plus subscriber to maintain strong, steady output of interconnected superhero stories on the streaming service. This led not to only viewers feeling overwhelmed, but Feige and his team also having their resources stretched thin, which then diluted the quality of many of the recent MCU releases. Currently, Marvel is in the and its top executives are working to get the MCU back on track, along with only releasing about 3 movies and 2 TV shows a year, scaling back the output. Feige is focused more heavily on the MCU's movie slate after films like Captain America Brave New World, which Wall Street Journal says it's underperformed. I don't know. When you're over 400 million, I think that's not underperforming. I mean, again, we're not in the age anymore of where this is, but it just seems like a slight at that point. I'd say it's overperformed for where they thought it was going to be because of where it opened.
Yeah, a Captain America movie with no Chris Evans, no your Stars and Stripes style Captain America in today's day and age. I think that this performed very well with everything that it, for all rights, had going against it. You had a Hulk reference that, again, people don't know Red Hulk. People probably hadn't seen the Incredible Hulk in so long. And then again, you've got this new version of, as some people said, not their Captain America, which Anthony Mackie, you are my Captain America. I'm right there with Chris Evans, who said he's his Captain America. Like, so it had every reason to truly bomb, and it was still making money. The word of mouth on it was still good. Yes, are there parts of the movie that you can nitpick? Absolutely. We
Absolutely.
did such in our review. You know, that there are moments where it shined, moments where it failed to live up, but it did well. It did well, and it deserves the recognition for the fact that it did well. I would not by any stretch call this a bomb.
Yes, we there are bombs in the MCU. This is far
Yes.
from it. um, So it goes on. The article goes on and says, Feige reportedly told industry colleagues he went along with the plan because of his ambition to get news stories out there and to be an excellent corporate citizen. However, this plan overwhelmed the studio. Feige had to make countless more decisions on a daily basis, even with multiple showrunners and executives overseeing individual new projects. He was also difficult to get a hold of for feedback on each project, with that feedback sometimes being irrelevant due to how tight deadlines were to get the shows out to the public. So what they're saying here is when he did get feedback, a lot of times it was too late because it was too far gone in the process to reshoot and redo it. And this is again, as All in the Game says in the chat, literally what people have been saying for the last 2 years. Feige was trying to be the good steward and saying, "Well, this is what my boss wants. I've already left my opinion. Well, he's not. They're not changing their minds. This is what we got to do." But again, the quality showed. The quality dipped. People who worked for Marvel in the early 2020s said it was challenging to secure enough time with Feige to get his feedback. As a result, sometimes spent weeks on work that proved irrelevant once he weighed in, and they found themselves with little time to implement any changes before a deadline. Desperate staffers resorted to chasing Feige in the halls to get answers. Long known as one of the most frugal studios in Hollywood, Marvel began spending like crazy at other media companies. As other media companies started streaming services, cost was no object in the race to impress Wall Street with big increases in subscribers. Marvel series made in the early 2020s regularly cost more than $100 million a season and sometimes approached $200 million. Secret Invasion. Because they included A-list actors and costly visual effects. Secret Invasion. This reliance on interconnected storytelling changed in recent years, however, as referenced by Thunderbolts director Jake Schreier, who recently told Games Radar about Feige's conversations to ensure movies would work for audiences who had not seen other MCU movies. He says, "For all the characters, we tried to start fresh," Schreier said. 2025 is the final year fans will see the kind of quality released under the Marvel Studios umbrella after Disney's CEO Bob Iger returned from his post, replacing Bob Chapek. This year will bring 3 movies and 6 new shows before MCU's overhaul output is reduced in 2026. So, yeah, there's a lot coming out this year, but this is the final time. Marvel is releasing only 1 or 2 live action streaming series, actually starting next year, and has already ordered multiple seasons of some of their stories can continue without crossing over to the big screen. As he did with Marvel Studios started, Feige has an expansive vision for his company's big future. The upcoming Avengers movies are expected to introduce X-Men, one of the Marvel's most popular superhero movies in the MCU. Feige has told colleagues a number of times that he has a 10-year plan for the characters. So, as I've said a few times on this show, post Secret Wars, we are out of the multiverse saga. We are now into the mutant saga. So,
Yep.
a lot of this is stuff we've heard before. There's not a lot of new groundbreaking. I think out of the thing that Feige saying he is realizing, as if their sources already believed, that he is realized and even realized before the homework problem is a problem they have to fix.
I definitely agree. Someone asked me about Thunderbolts and asked me what all they had to watch, and they wanted to make time to watch everything. And I said, honestly, I go, if you want to watch Black Widow to get a little bit of understanding of who 2 of the characters are, or 2 or 3 of the characters are, that's fine. But other than that, you don't need to watch. Does it help? Of course, but you don't need to watch. And honestly, the death at the beginning may not make you as mad if you hadn't done any of the homework, because you don't have that sense of you really wanted to see more of this character before they were off. So this was a movie where, again, it provides a little bit more weight to every character, but it does not take away from the movie, its message, the set pieces, or anything else from not having seen anything prior. And I think that that is something that should be the case going forward, because you have so much history. You can't rely on the fact that your audience has seen 30 plus pieces of media. You know, maybe, yes, you reward them for the fact that they've seen that with 1 or 2 things here and there, an Easter egg or a mention or something that will be deeper to those who have invested, but it's not a requirement. You will not feel totally lost by not having spent the last 12 years with the MCU.
Alex saying I'd give the success to Red Hulk. He was in every trailer since the reveal and the posters, as well for me. At least that he was the only point in watching the movie. That was your point. I'm with David. I'm a Anthony Mackie fan in his portrayal of Sam Wilson. I wanted to see him get his own limelight. Wasn't the best film, definitely not the worst film the MCU has ever put out there. Julio saying probably the Disney standard. They would like more. On the game saying Brave New World held well for 8 weeks after its less than ideal 68% drop, week 2 drop. I meant 6 weeks. Sorry, 6 weeks. And that's the thing. Like again, over $400 million. Yeah, it's not. It's not a flop. Sorry, not
Yeah.
a flop. Maybe
We've had way more underperforming movies in this, way more things that they've poured time and marketing into that just did not perform like this. To me, again, with all the things that it had going against it, plus the movie itself and its shortcomings as a film, I think 400 plus million, you did good, kid. You did good.
Yep. But I do like this idea. It doesn't surprise me. 10-year plan for the X-Men. You know, I think that the lessons that are going to be learned from this too, I hate to sound like a broken record. One of the biggest failures of the multiverse saga. It has taken us to the end of the saga to get an Avengers movie and an Avengers team. Just saying. That was a big mistake on their part. Absolutely big, huge, major mistake on their part. But all right. Speaking of box office and not a bomb at that point, let's talk about Thunderbolts weekend, first weekend in the box office. So, Thunderbolts Asterix opened to a strong global box office of $162 million in its first weekend. It includes $76 million in domestic ticket sales and $86 million from international markets. For comparison, Ant-Man and the Wasp grossed $75.8 million domestically in its opening weekend. Again, that is a sequel movie, but garnered rave reviews from the critics and ultimately grossed $623 million worldwide. Again, that is pre-pandemic. On the other hand, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings starred an unknown actor, or at least an unknown character, and grossed $432 million after a similar opening weekend. That is during the pandemic. That also is not acknowledged by this article. This makes difficult to predict which route Thunderbolts Asterisk will take, as Thunderbolts characters were less known, but at least not brand new like Shang-Chi was in 2021. So here's the current, as of today, as we were recording Thursday night, here's how the box office breaks down. Domestic is at $86,772,809. International is at $86,236,966 for a worldwide current total at over $173 million for the current box office at this point. This was not going to be a movie that was going to get $100 million. I'm sorry, but it wasn't. My prediction was never going to be $100 million. It just this doesn't get to that level of what it is. It is a very good movie. I think word of mouth is still strong on this movie. It is very positive on this movie. The question is the idea of like what's going to get it out to it, and as All in the Game's putting in the chat, the Monday after the first weekend box office comes in, they do a new marketing push and rip off the title of Thunderbolts and put the asterisk, what it means, as the end of the movie said. Spoiler alert: if you haven't seen Thunderbolts, you haven't seen the marketing, go away for like maybe a couple of minutes because we're going to talk about it. 3, 2, 1. The asterisk is the new Avengers, and they put that in the marketing. Now you have Sebastian Stan going out there doing an interesting thing of taping over posters and calling it the new Avengers. I know Marvel Studios has said like it's new Avengers. No, it's still going to be Thunderbolts. They're just doing a marketing push for this one. Yeah, they're trying to do it. I don't think it's going to reach the general audience in the same way. My prediction right now is second weekend's going to still have a big drop at that point. I don't think it's because of competition. I just think that there's a different type of word of mouth versus Sinners. It's Sinners is one of those things. Oh my God, you have to see this movie. It's one of those like it is that good to see. Like I tell people, yeah, you should see Thunderbolts. It is a good movie to see, but it's a different kind of good to see versus when I recommend Sinners to people. At that point, I'll recommend both, but I will also say that if I had to pick one movie that you should see in theaters and really get a great experience with it, that you see like, oh my God, I'm so glad I saw it in theaters, it's gonna be Sinners. But I'd say you can still see both. I think by the end, this movie will still make over $300 million at the box office.
I agree. And I've talked to a couple of people, and I've heard them say that they want to go see Thunderbolts. They plan on going and seeing Thunderbolts, but a lot of them haven't been to the movies at all. And the general consensus with those that I've talked to who haven't been to the movie theaters at all have been, I want to see Thunderbolts, but I need to see Sinners first. And I think that right now, yes, that is definitely staggering their box office because Sinners is an incredible film. It is a much watched film of this year, in my opinion. And Thunderbolts is a good film, but it is not having that type of word of mouth. It is having positive word of mouth. People are saying, hey, this is Marvel's return to form. This is the Marvel that you've been missing. If you like the old Marvel, go see this. You will get that feeling again. So it is picking up steam in that, right? It is picking up steam in the fact that I think that it will have a productive second week. Not going to be anything major, not going to be anything that's going to be like, oh man, they're holding strong, but it's going to have a good second week, especially with it being Mother's Day weekend. But I still think that they are.
Take your martyr those sinners. That Haley Steinfeld scene alone, that intro of her character alone is gonna, it's gonna win you points with mom.
Yeah, that they are hurt by coming out so close to Sinners, and that being just such a good movie that, again, if you're gonna see one, and if you only have time in May to go see one movie, it's gonna be Sinners. Now, yes, if you got the comic book fan, or if you just don't want your mom to hear some of the things that come out of the character's mouth in Sinners, then yes, go ahead and take them to Thunderbolts. But it's a good movie. It's gonna make a decent box office, and I do think that the quick pivot of the titling, the public facing titling, is yes to get those butts in seats that last minute. Oh, this is an Avengers movie. Okay, then maybe I do need to see it.
I still think it's. I don't think it's gonna move the needle. I really don't. I don't think it was a bad move for them to try. I don't think it was a desperate move for them to try. I just think it was just something for fun to like keep them in the conversation.
Yeah.
To think, and if the studio heads at Marvel and Disney, if they thought this was going to be, oh my god, I got to see it, uh, you're misreading it at that point. I think it's a gimmick. I think it was okay for you to do. I don't think it's going to confuse anyone. I think very few of the general audience is paying attention to that idea. Not enough of them. Hulu is saying they haven't updated overseas. I got those numbers this afternoon. It was just based off of what I could get. So, but again, I still think it's going to achieve by the end of the box office at least over 300 million. I don't think that's far its own around possibility. They're going to have, for the most part, not really too much competition in the sense of you know a big movie coming out till Mission Impossible. I've already got my tickets. At the time, I was the only one in my theater. I'm excited about Mission Impossible, but that's their first big competition. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, you're right. You're right all in the game. Domestic rent alone between 250, 300 million for just Sinners. Yeah, I, David and I agree. Like this is right now Cougar's magnum opus right now, with many more years ahead of him. But yeah, just for the domestic alone, 250, 300 million just for that. Yeah, domestically, that's an amazing achievement for him. Very proud, very proud of the great work. So we'll see
Yeah.
what happens second weekend with Thunderbolts. Again, I don't think I, would I love to see these characters again in this team? I think so. We'll just have to see what's going to happen, and as they move forward with their plans, especially with the results of we already know they're going to be in Doomsday. We already know that they'll probably some of them will continue on Secret Wars, but as I'll say, let's not get too attached to some of these characters. I don't think some of them are long for this world.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, we had a chonky news show, so we're gonna take our our final ad break for the evening before we get into basically fact or fiction because we didn't get any questions this week, which is okay. That's fine. Uh, We answered them all with our already stuff at that point. So, but all right, listeners, these ads help keep the lights on in the Geek Ultimate Alliance network. We don't get to choose what ads come on. They can be a bit loud and give it that 3 count before they come on. 3, 2, 1. We'll be right back. And we are back. All right, so let me pull up Fact or Fictions from a couple weeks ago. And I know, David, you are up this week. I've got to go dig back through. It's been a bit since we've had the Fact or Fictions right before Thunderbolts. Let's see. Gotta love. Is it there? Nope.
One
There we
of
go.
one of mine, I thought immediately, like I had this one just ready to go. So I, even with the slow news of the last couple of weeks and then the outburst of the last 2 days, I was one of these. I was like, I'm definitely saving
Yeah,
this one.
gotta put it out there. All right, so number one, we will see a cameo from another MCU character in Daredevil Born Again Season 2. 87% said fact, 13% said fiction. Number two, there will be at least one appearance from a pre-MCU Marvel actor or actress that will not be announced in any future cast announcements for Avengers Doomsday. 89% said fact, 11% said fiction. Number three, we will not see She-Hulk appear again in the MCU until after Avengers Secret Wars, if at all again during the Kevin Feige era. 57% said fact, 43% said fiction. And number four, Moon Knight will appear in Daredevil Born Again Season 2, and he will be one of the members of the new Defenders team. This is thank you to Tosca Beckham for your submission. Very much divided. We have a tie, 50-50 split on whether Moon Knight will be
Ooh.
part of the Defenders team and in Daredevil Season 2. All right, David, what you got?
Okay, first one. Thunderbolts Asterisk will release on digital platforms with the new Avengers art. It will still be listed as Thunderbolts, but the art will be the new Avengers Asterisk art.
So, so it'll no longer be Thunderbolts, it'll be just the new Avengers.
Yes, you can still like it will still be, the movie itself will still be listed as Thunderbolts, but I think the art. So when you go to look at it and it has like the box art, I think the box art that they use will be the one that says New Avengers.
See, I think here's the thing. They love doing slipcases. All right, besides steelbooks, they love doing slipcases. I could see them doing that underneath the slipcase. I think the slipcase will still say Thunderbolts. So, um, at least in physical sales, I think they're going to do that. I could easily see them doing that. Um, uh, I still, I still think they're going to keep it as Thunderbolts. It's just one of those things that they put it out there so much, and this is where it kind of gets, they promote it and promote it, and then there's just they make the pivot at this last minute stuff. It was never the new Avengers. It was never that. It's more of the revelation at the end of the movie, more than that. So could I see them doing? Yes. I don't necessarily like it. I'd rather it be kept as Thunderbolts and then like underneath the slipcase, things like that. I think on the marketing side and when you go to the digital platforms, I still think it's going to be Thunderbolts. You know,
Yeah.
but again, I could easily see them do it, and I'll be like, I guess, but keep it Thunderbolts. Because I
I
mean,
would
again,
love for,
look at all the trades. Look at all the trades. They're still
yeah.
calling it Thunderbolts.
I would love for it to stay as Thunderbolts, but I have a feeling that just for the name recognition, that on the art they will
Yeah,
put the new Avengers one, because it will be
yeah,
something that grabs attention.
it will. It will. I think that is just it's desperation in my mind. At that
Yeah.
point, it's trying to get an extra buck in. Yes, they're a company they're a company that needs to make money. I get it, but yeah, like I said, I get if it happens, that's fine. I mean, they still have my money. I'm still gonna get. I own every single MCU film project in physical format. I'm sorry, Disney. You're not getting my. Oh, I will.
Mhm.
You're not getting my money for the streaming stuff. They're still too overpriced for my eyes at that point. But I will continue buying the physical copies of the films.
Yeah. Number two, the Avengers and the new Avengers will have a face off in Doomsday.
No, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you saw that, and the question is, are we going to see? I have a feeling that Anthony Mackie's new. I mean, excuse me, Sam Wilson's new his Avengers team, Captain America's Avengers team. We're not going to see a recruitment drive. He's just going to show up with his ones. They're just going to be on the team. We're not going to
Yeah,
see a handing out invitations or recruitment stuff. I think he's just going to show up like West Side
yeah.
Story, kind of battling it
I,
down. Tap
I'm
tap
I'm
ball chain.
I'm waiting on Red Guardian to yell that they're the Avengers, and us here, Anthony Mackie, say,
Avengers.
"I told you stop using that name." Like I could definitely see them having a standoff, just basically over who gets to be called the Avengers in the middle of a battle.
I don't know. The Avengers now has a copyright symbol on its Twitter feed. So
Again, the marketing, they are all about the marketing.
I give him to it. Like I don't think it's a bad play. I don't think it's confusing. I just think it's like it's fun. I'll call it fun. So
Yeah. All right. Number three, Ironheart will also have a lead in to Doomsday.
I'll go false on that. I think the unfortunate nature of the show. I think again, as the last story we broke down, I think Ironheart. If they had to do it again, this show wouldn't exist. I like the character in the comics at this point. I like Dominic Thorne as the character. I think this. I think Wonder Man. These shows are gonna reek in the sense of all right, we were too far along in these projects. We got to put them out there. We it's gonna be jettisoned out. I don't think they're gonna draw any more attention to these characters than they have to. So yeah, this I don't see any kind of lead into Doomsday. I think they're gonna keep. I think they're going to keep Doomsday lead-ins to the films. I honestly think that. I think that's where they want to put it as that kind of project because that's where, let's be honest, David, more of the eyes are going to see the films than the shows at this point.
Yes. I'm of two minds about this. I am in the camp of, the less is more, scaling back your MCU output. So yes, they could definitely keep everything for films only, but I also feel like just with the fact that there has not been much talked about Ironheart, even in the lead up to it, um, they may tack on a lead in just to make Ironheart view worthy. Give those who would not watch it, because again, um, just talking about not only the climate and perception when it comes to Disney, but this is a character that most people didn't care about. This is a character that debuted for most people within Black Panther 2. This isn't their Iron Man, all this other stuff. So, in order to give people a reason to watch, even if it is just the last episode, throw a stinger in there just to give some sort of lead in, whether it's major impact on Doomsday or not, which I doubt they will put something with this that will be a major impact, but just something to say, hey, remember this big thing is coming.
I mean, I get it. If they do, I just don't. I think they're just not. Like I said, I like the character. I want this. I want it to be a very good stepping off point because I think she's a great actress. I think she embodies the character very well from what I like of Riri Williams in the comics. Could they do it? Yes. Yeah. It just they'll be a lead if they do a lead in. It's gonna be something at that point, but I just don't see it. But hey, I'll take it if they do.
Yeah,
Speaking of Ironheart, on the game says Ironheart trailer to drop when? I say within two. I say in the next 2 weeks.
agreed.
Yeah, next 2 weeks. Where does Echo character fit in going forward? Daredevil. that's that's the only thing. I do not think you're gonna see um, Echo in Doomsday or Secret Wars. Outside of if
Nope.
it's in Secret Wars, it's a very short cameo. So but yeah, all right. So that's Factor Fiction. On Sunday I'll be posting those, so let your voices be heard. Like I said, we had no listener feedback for this week, which is fine. That's okay. We still love you all. As we've said, Comic Book Club, we're taking a few weeks off. I think David and I, as we wrap up our respective daytime jobs, where reading time is at a premium right now as we do that. So probably sometime as we wrap up our years, we'll get back to it in the summer. As again, just bear with us at that point. It'll be a listener choice. I think David and I are gonna um, start working on what the theme's going to be and some choices at this point. So, but we are going to be very firm in this thing. We will not be doing an entire run of a series. We're going to take a little break from that. It was fun. I think we need a little bit of a recovery from that. But yeah, the comic book club is taking a small little hiatus as we get some time in the summer so that we get reading time again. Even though it's just
Yeah,
one issue at a time, it's reading time's at a premium. So,
yeah.
but it
I
will be
a
coming back
chance
this
to
summer. Hey, along with our
enjoy our
vacation.
summer.
Yes, and reading is an enjoyable part, so we want to enjoy instead of just doing it like there. So just
Yeah.
stay tuned for that. I know Fifth Jack wants some homework to work on, so I know he's one of our dedicated comic book club listeners. So, but yeah, so 259 in the books. We will see what news comes out next week. So we had a chunky episode of news, so we will see what next week brings. And but yeah, tell to David, tell people how they can follow you.
You can follow me on all socials at the Phantom as listed below. I'm most active on X and Instagram. You can also follow me here on the Geekverse Network. If you are into wrestling, I co-host a wrestling show called The Gimmick. We will be going live this Sunday
Ooh,
at yes, at 12 p.m., 12 noon Central Standard Time with a review of Backlash, which is going to be this Saturday's pay per view, and
it is
some,
already. Wow.
yeah, and some other upcoming topics in the wrestling community and things like that. So, yeah, you can catch me on The Gimmick with S Bubs and Travis Snell, and you can catch me on all socials at The Phantom.
Yes, I'll definitely be listening to the audio drop of that to catch up on all what has happened with Backlash. So, but yeah, you can follow me on all the socials at Chris Balga. You can catch me, as always, on Saturday afternoons on the Brave and the Boys YouTube channel for the Organic Price Books uh, buyer's guide or weekly buyer's guide. We go over all the what's coming up in the week of collected editions. So check that out, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as always, we want to, you can follow this podcast on Twitter at Marvel A Podcasts. You can email the show at marvelalliancepodcast@gmail.com. You can follow the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network on Twitter at GUA Pod Network. Feel free to email, tweet. DMs are all open across the board. If you want to factor fictions, ask questions, feel free to do that. As always, we want to thank our official sponsor, GettingPriceBooks.com. Use that code MarvelGUA at checkout to get $2 off every single order, or MGUA SIT for 5% off when you order 4 or more books together. And continue to rate and review the Marvel Line solo feed on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music. Wherever you get your podcasts, we greatly appreciate it. We want to thank you all for the lively discussion in the chat. Thank you all for listening. And as Stan, stay safe out there, everyone. And as Stan the Man would say, Excelsior, true believers. All right, David, post credits discussion. What do you got for us tonight?
All right, post credits discussion for tonight. So, the Bears, Liza Colon Zayas joined Spider Man Brand New Day. So, this was reported by Deadline. A fan favorite from Show the Bear. If you've seen the Bear, I absolutely love the Bear. You can probably start getting your guesses together about who
Yeah,
should be playing
guesses.
now.
Wow, guesses. We're being very you know
I
guesses. Guess
I
would be
I
the word applicable.
I have seen three guesses,
Oh, okay.
one of which completely blew my mind. I was like, absolutely not. But hey, I mean, it could be. But the Emmy winner is set to join the ensemble led by Tom Holland, who will be playing Peter Parker, and along with Sadie Sink from Stranger Things in a mystery role. Now, neither Sony or Marvel has commented on this yet, but this looks to be a done deal according to Deadline. So, my question is who what is your way too early prediction of who Les will be playing? I think we're going to have the same answer. And then after you give your prediction, I will tell you the other two names that I have heard.
Well, we'll just say that David and I have the same number one prediction, like everyone else. It's not an amazing prediction. It's just what it is because of her background, who her ethnicity and everything matches up with. It's Miles' mom. It's Mrs. Morales.
It has got to be Mrs. Morales. I mean, perfect fit. Not only just for like her ethnicity, her background, everything she brings to it. I mean, she's of Puerto Rican descent
Hmm.
and things like that. So
Miles'
there
mom.
it is almost a lock in this point. So that is also my guess as well. Now, I did see someone going really hard for
Yeah, I want to
this
hear this.
this could be a swerve, and this could be the MCU's Madam Web.
Oh God. It has nothing against the actress. They thank you, Sony, for. I'm not saying Madam Web is the best Spider-Man character of all time, but now you have basically put the character in jail for a while because it's a joke.
Yeah.
Moving on. Moving on.
So we
She's too good of
got
an
that.
actress. Now, again, if someone could bring it back, yes, she's a great actress. Yes, put her in that role. But okay, nice for trying to bring back Madam Web. Not going to happen. Moving on. Next idea.
Now, the other idea that was floated out there is we haven't got much of the family dynamic of Zendaya within this movie and things like that. And she could just be playing a role as small as Zendaya's MJ has moved on without Peter, without the knowledge of Spider Man. She's living her life and she is just playing someone as simple as MJ's mom who something happens with her, and that is what brings Peter and MJ back together.
Yeah, I'm down for that. That's definitely very believable. That's more believable to me than Madam Web.
The Madam Web one got me, and I mean it was a really strong push on Reddit for the Madam Web, and
Well, all you got to say is it's a strong push on Reddit, and I'll be like, all right, moving on.
yeah. So I'm I would say that this has got to be a lock for Miss Morales. If not, then yes, I can see the usage of her as, you know, Zendaya's mom, and something happens with her that is what brings Peter back into their lives and brings them back together. So we shall see. She could end up being the one who gets shot, and we have to make a deal with the devil. Who knows?
Who knows exactly? But yeah, that's how the story break. Yeah, I mean, again, as soon as I saw it, it's like Miles' mom. And again, but I do like we've never seen anything of MJ's family at that point. So yeah, sure, we could put her in that as well. But great actress, looking forward to seeing it. So we will see what next week brings in the news of Marvel as we march towards Ironheart and Fantastic Four first steps. So uh, be watching out there, and we will see you all next week. Have a good week and ta ta.
See ya.